Good evening, Sitaram, Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome to each and every one of you on this special discussion on the 22nd of April 2022. So it's 22, 22, 2022. I do not know whether that means anything, but you never know. But today we'll get straight to the point of the power of prayer. And if we were sitting in a room and we were having this discussion, you will say, but Panditji or Guruji or whatever you call me, I did not know that I'm supposed to pray for power. I'm supposed to pray for strength. I'm supposed to pray for all of the possessions that I want in life. And I say, most certainly, we are supposed and we are meant to pray for something. We are not what we call fakirs, nor are we a Maharaja who has everything, and the fakir or the poor man doesn't need anything. Everybody in between needs to focus on the power, immense power that we get from a simple mantra. So, if we go back and look at the psychology of our culture and our tradition, what would happen is that our parents would call the Pandit, and the Pandit would pray once a year and go away, and then absolutely nothing else will be done until next year. So that it is for this reason that many Hindus or people of Vedic background, their children have not taken up prayers. Their children have not been given the inheritance or the benefit of mantras and prayers. And the children end up in a world of moving from one theology to another, from one problem in their life to another, or they come to a standstill but do not know how to overcome the obstacles in life. And this is what prayers are for, to make you what we call your journey in life to be continuous. And that is why we have to make prayer a part of our life. So if we go straight to the point, why do you wake up in the morning and pray to Surya Bhagwan, pray to Lakshmi Devi, or just pray to God, or just pray to the Supreme Lord if we do not want to, what we call, give him a name. We want to ensure that we wake up with a positive frame of mind and set out our stall as to how we want our day to be. So as we go forward, what happens is that we wake up in the morning and we are given the right tools of what we call affirmations and assertions to ensure that this day become productive. I will tell you a story, and this happened last week. So after or this week after the bank holiday, one is in the holiday mood. So I said to myself, today I'm going to have an easy day. Now the brain took it to mean that it did not need to engage in anything serious or anything at work. So even how much I tried to focus during the day, the brain was in a relaxing mood. The mind was in a relaxing mood because the mind was empowered with the power of relaxation. So this mind will respond to what your thoughts are at the beginning of the day. So this is the power, whether you call it of praying, the power of affirmations, the power of positive thinking, the power of negative thinking, because your brain or your subconscious does not know what is a good prayer or what is a bad prayer. We tend to assume that all prayers are good and all prayers, and there's not no bad prayer. But the mind interprets our feeling that we call prayer based on what that feeling is. If that feeling is positive, you will be empowered to do something positive. Let us say now, if your feeling is negative, then you would have all of the powers to be negative, to be miserable, to be unhealthy, to be unkind, to gossip, and to create what we call bad karma. So you have the power to create good or bad karma in your life. It is called shreyas or prayas. Shreyas are incidents in your life or in your daily activities that what we call is bitter, but the results are sweet. Whereas the opposite, which is the shreyas, are things that are sweet initially, but the results are bitter. So if we take, let us say Karela, we call it bitter melon in the West. If you chew it in your mouth, it's extremely bitter, and you want to what we call take it out of your mouth. But did you know that if you were to keep that Karela in your mouth for 2 minutes, it becomes sweet? So this is the same things in life, that everything requires dedication and sacrifices to achieve something. Let us say if you're a student studying, this would be you're looking at the football match the day before your exams, and you still hope to pass the exams or to get your grade A. So looking at a television program or not being focused on your exam or what you're supposed to do in life is what we call a shreya. But let us say now you could, day before exam or weeks before exam, every day you're focusing, every day you're studying. People may call you a nerd, whatever they may call you, but you can be guaranteed to get what we call the happiness as a result of the hard work of the preceding days. So let us go back to what I defined, or what is defined as what we get from the purpose of praying. Devotees, your purpose may be thwarted or it may be accomplished depending to one degree or another on your willingness to use what we call the weapons of spiritual power and warfare that the Supreme has provided in the scriptures. Now, what we are talking here is not physical battle. It can be physical battle, but because we are spiritual people, you have to fight this war of the mind. You have to fight this war to get the strength to walk on the path of what we call goodness or the path of dharma. And only prayers, arm you with this strength. And we're going to go into that later in this discussion. We have said that all of these prayers are provided for in the scriptures. And you can say as well, where in the Ramayana, where in the Gita, where in the Shastras are these prayers? Well, there is a set of prayers called what we call suktams. Every one of the suktams says, "O Lord, reward me with wealth, health, protect my family. O Lakshmi Devi, come and reside in my home. And when you come, please bring Bhagwan and please bring your children so they may always reside here." So it comes straight again. All of the prayers are based on what we call asserting the need for success in this world. And without prayer, you will not get long-term success. You may get fleeting success. Days will go good and days will go bad. But what prayer does, it gives you continuing protection that every day will be good. So when we say praying, we do not mean sitting down and praying all the time. It means, okay, it means that you sit down and you meditate and you pray. But you do all of the things that are a spin off from prayer. So you would have a charitable life. So you have to make sure that all of the wealth that Bhagwan has rewarded you as a result of your prayer, you do not hoard them. Because, those who don't share shall have what they have depleted, and those who share shall have what they have extended and multiplied. So this is one of the things that is really important in prayer, to live a charitable life. The second thing, that when you're praying, then your mind and your body and your soul must be in synchrony. So when you're praying, you're also praying to have a happy life. So you will say as well, where does it say so? If you go to some of the mantras that we said earlier, we recited earlier, it goes like this: Bhadram Karnevi Shunayama Deva Bhadram Pashyemakshabir Yajatraha Stairangae Tushtuvam Shashtanovihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayahu. So devotees, on a simple mantras like that, you're asking the Lord, bless me, that my eyes will be focused. So which means that whatever work I do, whatever studies I undertake, I must be focused, that my eyes must not waver. Second, Bhadram Karanebi, oh Lord, let me hear. Let me have an ear that my hearing is only hears that which is of benefit to me. So I will only place myself in the company of noble people. I will not hear any gossips. I will not myself say anything that is unkind to anyone. So if you're going to pray and yet place yourself in bad company, and then you gossip and you see things that your eyes should not see, then your praying will not be fruitful. So this praying becomes a praying life where your life is full of devotion. So if we continue that the divinity is powerful enough to win any battle, but he has designed things so that the release of his power at a particular moment in time is contingent upon the decisions and the actions of the people, let us say, of the city, the country, and the world once at that time. What it comes down to, although the Lord is all powerful and the Lord can control us, we are all given what we call free will. By our thoughts and by our will, we shall prosper or we shall not prosper. We shall elevate ourselves and we shall not elevate ourselves. So the principal tool of abundant spirituality, spiritual energy, is prayer. So if you want to ensure that you are on top of the world, the answer lies in prayer. And there are many forms of prayers and many types of prayers and many systems of prayers. So prayers does not only mean Om Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Jasaka Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. So Bhakto, my brothers and my sisters, aunties, uncles, when we start to pray, let us say in this simple mantra, we can do what we call jap. But when we sit down and do these prayers, our focus goes all over the place. Sometimes our mind wavers and we end up not getting the benefit of the abundant spiritual energy that you should get from the prayer. And this is where it comes down to what else then can we do to enhance the prayer or the benefit of the prayer. So if we come back to the power of prayer, prayer gives health, wealth, good fortune, success, negative or positive, peace, internal and external, or unity or division. And you may want to say, how can prayer result in negative or positive success? Or how can prayer result in unity or division? Because people do pray for the wrong things in life. Or people pray, they know how to what we call attract the divine energy. So let us say they pray to correctly to Bhagwan Shiva or to Ishwar or to the universal energy. And then they are endowed with an enormous ability to create something. Or they are endowed with an enormous ability to influence someone in one direction or another. Now, let us say if they become very powerful and very godlike, but instead they share what we call negativeness. They become part of a cult that result in hate and anger that results further in the destruction of society. So by prayer, they got that power. In certain parts of the world, many of what we call the gangs, or what in India they're the Daku, they are devotees of Mata Kali. So every day before they go and pray, they would do all of the puja and make all of the sacrifices. So Mataji only recognized that this person is praying to me. She's not noticing their intention, but she's responding to the devotion, to the chanting, to the offering that they are giving her, and they bless them with success. And Mataji blessed them with success. But instead of benefiting from their power to enhance the peace and the opportunities of this world, they use their power to create intolerable forms of unhappiness. The greatest example of one who was the best, what we call Pandit or Vedic scholar of this world has ever known, was Ravan. He knew all the mantras, all the tantras, that he could control the planets. He could control the energies. But instead of using his power for benevolence, he used his power for adharma. And it shows then that as a result of his misuse of his power was then taken away from him. And because of our human nature, because of our mind, it is so easy for us to get sway. It is very easy for us to what we call be misled by our little power. It is so easy for us to do the wrong thing, as though doing the wrong thing has a greater attraction than doing the right thing. Because doing the wrong thing is like what we call ice cream, and doing the right thing is like Karela. Ice cream has a nice taste, but then it gives you diabetes, it causes obesity, it creates all kind of problem. Whereas Karela is bitter for the first 2 minutes, but it cleans and purifies the blood. It makes your blood thin. It has all forms of antioxidants that gives you immense good health and spiritual fortune. So the power of prayer, once you have got it, make sure you have a good definition of how you will use this power that has been given to you. We are saying not just routine or mediocre prayer. And this is such an important concept. I've been going to Mandir all the time, and I know my couple of mantras, but they're not doing you any good, because they're what we call routine prayer, or they're what you call prayer without focus, whatever the words is, or you may say it in Spanish or French or English, but that is prayer without feeling. So in order for your prayer to be answered and for your prayer to be followed through, your prayer must be powerful enough to move the divine powerful hands in order to determine your destiny. And this is what this life is all about, that we want to change our destiny because all of us, or most of us, are not satisfied with our current status of where we are. And of course, you blame destiny on these matters. It's a very nice story of a very young scientist. His name was Dhanu. Many of these stories has a guy called Dhanu. I'm not too sure why, but so Dhanu was going to all of the astrologers and to find out what his destiny held. He would go to some would say, look, you have an extremely bright future. You will become the most successful scientist in your field. Others will tell him that, look, according to the stars on which you were born on that day and this asterism, what can I say? Great misfortune behold you. So there was no consensus. Then he goes to the palmist, and one palmist says A, the other says B. And says, now I will get a definitive answer to my destiny. So he goes and get the greatest, what we call Jyotishta or Jyotish, in the whole of what Bharat. So he travels far and he consults this astrologer. So the astrologer, then drew a very large circle in his consultation room. Half of the circle was black and half of the circle was white. So the astrologers then left and he brings back a tortoise. He says, look, this tortoise shall determine your future and is the best fortune teller in the world. So he places the tortoise in the middle of the white part of the circle. And the tortoise is moving and moving and moving. But suddenly the tortoise is heading towards the dark part of the circle. And suddenly the young scientist got up and he pulled the tortoise away to make sure that it doesn't go into the dark part of the circle. That would then spell misfortune for him. So the famous astrologer said, how could you interfere with my reading? Then the scientist said, you think I'm going to allow that tortoise to make my life hell? And the astrologer then said, you have finally got the lesson of why I brought you here. Your good fortune or otherwise is always in your hand by our choices. You could have chosen to let him walk over into that dark circle and then, dimmed you in darkness, psychological darkness for the rest of your life because of the tortoise. But what you have done, you have used your hands. You have used your mental abilities and your judgment to create good fortune in your own hands. And this is for those who are a constant follower of this session. We did 3 weeks ago a beautiful mantra that says you must open your hands at the beginning of the day. And even if you do not know the Sanskrit words, you look in your hands and said, today, these hands shall create wealth because Mata Lakshmi resides at the tip. These hands shall bring stability to my life because Mata Gauri or Bhagwan Vishnu resides at the base. And these hands shall bring me immense knowledge and fame because Mata Saraswati resides in the palm of my hands. Karagre vasate Lakshmi Karmadye Saraswati Karmule sthite Gauri prabhate karadarshanam. So when you wake up in the morning, you are praying, and you're actually praying with determination, and you're engaging your mind to say, I'm going to go through my to-do list. I'm going to get to work on time. I'm going to make sure I'm not diverted by eBay and WhatsApp and Facebook. I'm going to focus. I will not procrastinate because I want to be loyal to my prayer. So now you're praying, and the whole day you procrastinate, and at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it. You have nothing to fill your timesheet. You have no achievement because you have not worked with a purpose. So you have to be loyal to your prayers and make sure you're not diverted from what you promise yourself. And this is the important aspect of praying, is about you, yourself, and you. It's like, as a young man and the astrologer, he actually plucked the tortoise and brought it back to the good fortune half of his circle of his life. So when we wake up in the morning, even if we do not know the Sanskrit word, before you jump off of your bed, you focus your mind and you says, "Oh divinity, oh the one who is the source of all the energy, the one who is the controller of the minds of all, influence my life in such a way that I may create wealth and good fortune. I may create knowledge and my integrity and the abilities that this life has to offer. I shall be blessed with all of them." So this is beautiful prayers, but pray you must in order to win the battle of life. In a conversation, as we always have this conversation, you will hear devotees will say Panditji or Bhaiya or whatever they may address as. And you may have that same question being asked to you. Come on. Is it only you Hindu people that, have these things? No. Whatever we are saying here is a universal in its appeal. Universal in its scientific underlying nature of the way how things happen in this world. Every great person prays, not in the way how you've been told to understand praying, but in the proper scientific way of praying. In the Vietnam War, there was a soldier who was in prison for 12 years. In order to maintain his sanity, he had to play mental golf. He visualized every shot. He visualized his swing. He visualized the way how the ball moves through the air. He knew by his visualization where the golf ball will drop and how it will roll into that hole. So after he was free, he was then engaged in what you call an exhibition match with Jack Nicklaus in the US. And there were 3 matches, and although he had never played real golf in his life, he won all 3 of the tournaments. Because then when he was asked, "How did you do that?" He said, "For 12 years, I was beating him in this match. I was winning this match every day. So this is just an additional 3 days of those 12 years of visualization." The second example, I can say it to you. One prisoner of conscience was jailed for 5 years in the Gulag archipelago in Russia. He was a Jew. And then afterwards, he went to live in Tel Aviv in Israel. There, at that moment in time, Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion, came to Tel Aviv and they engaged in a match, 2 matches. And he won both matches, although never played chess in reality before, and the same thing happened again. They asked him, how were you able to conquer the world chess champion? And he undoubtedly said, to keep my sanity, to keep my mental focus, I was playing chess with him every day and I was winning every single match. Devotees, brothers and sisters, this is praying. Praying can be in the form of a game that you want to achieve. Whatever your imagination is, whatever your goal is, that is a prayer. It doesn't have to be in front of a murti. It doesn't have to be in a church. It doesn't have to be in a temple. It doesn't have to be in any physical building. But prayer is wherever the mind is focused that attunes you with the divinity. Very nice song which we normally sing. It goes like this. गंगा में नहीं, यमुना में नहीं, महलों में नहीं, कुतियों में नहीं, जहाँ याद करो भगवान वही, जहाँ याद करो भगवान वही. गंगा में नहीं, यमुना में नहीं, महलों में नहीं, कुतियों में नहीं, जहाँ याद करो भगवान वही, जहाँ याद करो भगवान वही. गंगा में नहीं, यमुना में नहीं, महलों में नहीं, कुतियों में नहीं, जहाँ याद करो भगवान वही. You know, traditional miseducation on the nature of God says, you know, God is only present in the temples or places of pilgrimage. God is only present in the holy rivers. God is present, you know, is not present, you know, God is present only in the home, a poor home, a mehalo, a rich, a palace, or a kutiyo, a small home. But the science of divinity, because God works on what we call a mental level, not a physical level, that wherever you think that you need the power of the Supreme, that is where you will be energized by the power of your own divinity, that you can call on God to take you out of the most serious problem. And you will find is that whatever problems you have on the Lord, you can call on the Lord for your instant release, your instant redemption. There was a story of this very, very powerful elephant. And you know, elephants, they are strong and they're very egotistic sometimes, that when they are powerful, they will try to show their strength to knock down the trees or to fight another elephant, but very egotistic in their power. But there was one such elephant in a nice katha from the Bhagavata that teaches us of the story of Gajendra Moksha. And in that story, you know, this powerful elephant went to drink water and he placed his front feet into the stream. And there was a big crocodile. And you know, the crocodile is in their element in the water. They are stronger than the elephant is on land. So what happened, this crocodile started to pull this elephant down in what we call a watery grave. And here, he had family amounting to 200 members. He had brothers, he had sisters, he had children, he had grandchildren, but no one could assist him except when he remembered that, you know, I shall then tune in to the power of all powers, the Savior of all, the one with unlimited abilities to assist the good. In this context, the elephant is seen as dharmic and the crocodile is seen as adharmic. So there, this elephant now does not know what to do. So he starts to pray to utilize what we call the miraculous power of mantra. You may just say, "Oh God, help me. I'm in such a difficult situation, Lord. I have no one to turn to other than you." And this is the most powerful prayer. Lord, you're my source of health. You're my source of wealth. You're my source of unhappiness. It doesn't matter what your shortage is. The Lord, who has an abundance of everything, has enough to satisfy and exceed the needs of your satisfaction. So here is the elephant who is losing everything, including his physical body and his life. So what does he do? Hey Govinda, Rakho Sharana, Ab to Jeevan haar hai. Devotees, here we extol Govinda or Bhagwan, whatever name you call your Bhagwan. Hey Govinda, hey Krishna, hey Radha Vallabha. Lord, I'm in mortal danger and I'm losing my life. Could you come and help me and rescue me from this watery grave? Hey Govinda, Rakho Sharana. And here we are chanting prayers. And in our mind we are focusing on the power of Govinda. And we bow to what we call the Deva or the deity of this mantra. So the first rule of prayer is that you must know who is the Deva or the deity of the mantra that you are going to pray to. So we offer, here Gajendra first addresses Krishna Chandra Bhagwan as what we call the Deva or the god of this mantra. Then what Gajendra does, he chants this mantra in the right meter. You know, if you're in a mortal danger, you will not sing what we call in soca style, or you would not sing in chutney style, or you would not sing in party style, but you will sing in a rhythm that is identical to the beat of your heart. It's called a chanda, or it's called a meter. So here, Gajendra prays you using the right meter. And this brings, because the right meter is another word to say the Shakti of the mantra. The meter is what we call, it's feminine in nature. So he's praying to Bhagwan Shri Krishna, but Bhagwan Shri Krishna's power is that of Shakti. So we must understand that when we are praying, we must not only pray to this Bhagwan, where this Lakshmi Mata or Bhagwan Shiva, but we must pray using the right intonation, because it is the intonation that brings the power to the words. So this is the other style. You know, pray very, what we call devoutly, or pray with devotion, so that your prayers may be answered. So this is what Gajendra does. Hey Govinda, Rakho Sharana, Ab to Jeevan haar hai. Nirapivat hetu gaye, Sindhu ke kinare. Sindhu ke kinare, I'm just going down into this ocean of Bhagwan. Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, Garudalai Sidare. He Govinda Rakho Sharana, Ab to Jeevana haru hai. Devotees, Gajendra then, what he is singing in the right rhythm, he draws by Shakti the energy that was required for his rescue or for him to be saved. And then what happened? That energy brings the Supreme Lord Bhagwan Shri Krishna from where he was to rescue him with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. Then he uses his Sudarshan Chakra to what we call cut the head off of the crocodile. How did he do so? He then offered, before Bhagwan Krishna came, he offered what we call a lotus flower, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, and offered it to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. So devotees, as another technique in prayer, offer something to Bhagwan. Not that Bhagwan needs anything. Bhagwan is the prayer, Bhagwan is the offering of the prayer, and Bhagwan is the recipient of the prayer. But yet, to energize your prayer, you have a flower in your hands, or you have a thali in your hands, and what do? You offer that with deep emotion and what we call divine connection to the source of your energy. And that is why I always advise you, devotees, that pray to one deity at a time, because it's impossible for you to pray to all of the deities all of the time. Sometimes when you have a puja, you want the Pandit to do Kali Puja, Durga Puja, Navgraha Puja, Hanumanji Ke Puja. Bhagwan is one. Whatever you do, focus your mind on the totality of the supreme benevolence. Bhagwan is omnipresent. Bhagwan is omniscient. Bhagwan is omnipotent. So have faith in your ability to draw the divine presence in your life. Do we realize the power we have available to us when we take our authority in prayer? As this comes from the fact that prayers can move a mountain literally. It can bridge a river. It can do so many things. In reality, these are physical things that we have in life. But let us say, sometimes the mountain that you want to climb and the river that you want to climb is a relationship that is breaking down, that you do not want to break down, and it is good for you to maintain that relationship. Then what do? You pray to that Supreme Lord to be benevolent in your mind and in the mind of the counterparty. Lord, I bless that person, even though they may not be conducive to themselves or they may not like me. Lord, bless them so that life will be benevolent. Then it's up to the Lord then to see whether that river of this relationship should be bridged. We would be sacrificing everything else in order to pray. Most of us do not realize our power, because if we did, we would be praying far more. And this is a fundamental statement. If we look at the world now, if I were to invite any one of you or someone of your relationship were to invite any one of you to just sit down, let us chant Gayatri Mantra for half an hour or 1 hour, and then somebody invites you for a party or something social, 100% you're going to go to the party, except if you're in my 1% like myself, who would always go for prayer and satsang as a matter of priority. Most of us don't realize the power of prayers, because if we did, we would be praying far more. And we pray too little in our life. Devotees, let us study the power and the science of prayer. And as I said, the prayer can be anything, but prayer means you must focus to the divine for whatever you want in life. Whatever your profession, you could be a lawyer, a doctor, a physician, a scientist. You could wake up in the morning and says, "Oh, Supreme Lord, bless me that my career would be successful." Sometimes just like when you want to buy a new car, you will do all the research. You will see in your mind weeks before the color of the car, the shiny chrome. You will see yourself driving that car, and you can be guaranteed within a matter of weeks or months you are the owner of that car. And that is what prayer is all about. Creating an image based on a mental focus of what you want. But here we are talking of wanting some things that are good for the peace and well functioning of this world that we live in. So not only we are praying, for the what we call the material comforts of this world, but we are praying for things that are benefiting the poverty stricken, the hunger stricken, the thirsty stricken people and animals of this world. We would be sacrificing everything else in order to pray instead of worrying about the increase in evil in our land. We would be on our face and knees, prostrating before the Supreme, imploring out of His, imploring for His intervention and inspiration for our lives. We do not ever go on our body full out and with tears in our eyes and said, God, what's happening to this world? Please show us the way. Give us the mental capacity and large numbers enough to change this world that we live in. Otherwise, Lord, with the forests being destroyed at the way it is, the oceans being polluted at the way it is, Lord, there would not be a place for our humankind and to enjoy the gifts of this human body if they are going to be destroyed by selfish, adharmic humankind. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyochanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharmastantapanatasya sambhavani yuge yuge. This world belongs to the Supreme. He is the creator of this world. He maintains the planet in the orbit. He maintains the intensity of the power that comes out of the sun. He maintains the position of Chandrama or the moon that influences the tide and gravitational pull of this beautiful planet of Earth. Without those, we would not be able to sustain life as it is. So great is this Lord. Om Hiranya Garbha Samvarta Tagre Bhutasya Jata Patireka Yasit Saradharam Pritavim Jamatemam Kashmai Devaya Havisha Videma. So this Lord, it is He who has created this beautiful orb that we are living on. He spins it in such a way that it's spinning at such a fast rate, and we think that we are stable. Such is the power of the Supreme Lord, who we need to pray more. Hiranyagarbha samvarta tagre bhutasya jata patireka yasit sadadharam pritavim dhyamatemai kashmai devaya havisha videma. Kashmai devaya havisha videma means with prostrations and with folded hands we bow to you, O Supreme Lord. There is a difference between the types of prayers. Type 1 is what we call prayers without a fixed desire. And type 2 are prayers with a desire. Devotees, we were talking all of the points about prayers above, or with prayers with a desire. And we need to have desires. That is what God gives us a choice. But these desires can be good for us or not good for us. So let us say one of the most wonderful Devi in our Dharma is Lakshmi Mata or Lakshmi Devi. And we pray to her for unalloyed material wealth. We pray to Lakshmi Mata whether it's Diwali time or Navratri time. So if you look at her, this picture is beautifully constructed. It's a lot of what we call symbolism and science that goes there. But we only focus that we pray to Lakshmi Devi that she blesses us with financial wealth. But Justice says Lakshmi actually means many, many things, but let us say we associate it with light. when you have light in your life and you pray to Lakshmi Mata, you are blessed with health, you're blessed with wealth, you're blessed with good companionship. So you would live where your husband treats you well, your wife treats you well, your children respects you a lot. So that is why when we pray to Lakshmi Mata, we are praying for these blessings. So one moment. The image is one of money and financial wealth. It works on the science of visualization, creating the desire for financial success and physical health. And this is another picture of Lakshmi Devi. It could be any Devi as well, but what you can see is the hand blesses you. So this is showing that blessings come from spiritual power that comes from Shakti. And what are these prayers? In order to get the benefit of the prayers, one moment. Yeah. In order to get the benefit of the prayers, we must first address the specific deity to which the prayers are addressed to. So to get the benefit of Lakshmi Mata, we have to mention Lakshmi Mata. So what we call every prayer, as we said above, has a Deva or a Devi. So we focus on Lakshmi Mata and says, look, oh Mataji, I am praying to you now. So then the whole mental focus, the whole nervous system goes into this love for that divine mother. Which prayers are addressed? In this case, the prayers will be addressed to Devi Lakshmi. So it is necessary to compose yourself in front of what we call a deepam. One moment. A deepam. At home or in front of a picture called the Murti of Devi Lakshmi. Now, as we said in the mantra regarding to Gajendra Moksha, the second aspect of getting the benefit of a mantra is getting the vocal intonation correct. And this is why it is important that we do chanting in the right meter. Many of the mantras have the Gayatri meter. One moment. They have the Gayatri meter, and the benefit is obtained by ensuring that the meter or the tune is correct. And this is why it is very important that we stick to what we call the rhythm of the mantra. But even if you do not know the rhythm of the mantra, at least chant it in what we call a calming way or a divine way. Why do we need to use the Gayatri meter or the meter? The meter are regarded as feminine in nature and reflect the energy or the Shakti of the mantra. And it's wonderful. I mean, that this is the first time, this is presented to you, that this mantra is powerful. But this mantra is powerful because every mantra, what we call, has the divine power of Jagadambe Mata, of Lakshmi Mata, of Saraswati Mata, or of the universal Shakti, whatever nature you want to call it. So if we were to do the Gayatri mantra, we have to chant it in what we call in the meter of what we call 24 syllables, 3 lines of 8 each. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Devotees, therefore, to be effective, one should be aware of the 3 factors above. One should chant the prayers according to the inner power of the Devata or the Devi. An emotional connection of the meter or the energy of the power of the chant. And a regard for the gift or the giver, that is the Rishi, who has given us this mantra. As we know, the Gayatri mantra has been given to us by Maharishi Vishwamitra. And knowing him, we know this mantra energy is very powerful because Maharishi Vishwamitra was very strong, but he had a temper that needed to be cooling. And it was only after he had conquered his anger that he was able to give this world this Gayatri mantra. So if this gives you peace as well, so there are many Gayatri mantra. Each one of us should be familiar with the Gayatri mantra. But as we said, sit down when you're calm and focus on this mantra. Devotees, before you prepare to do your mantra, it is critical you have both or one of the above shown. You can either have, as is easier most of the time, have a glass of water. It's best if you have a glass of water and the deepam, as you have a combination between the energy of Agni and the energy of the water. Devotees, water is a living, what we call, entity, for want of another word. As we know, there are many experiments that shows that the water crystals are completely different when you're thinking positively, or when you say dharmic words to the water reacts negatively. So in doing mantra, we are hoping that your thoughts are positive. And then after you have done your mantra, do not throw this water in the flower pot, but make sure you drink this water. If you don't want to drink it all right away, you take a spoon and you drink it throughout the day. It's always advisable that the glass that you use for prayers, you do not use for drinking, but you tip it into another glass that you can then drink, and use a nice, what we call, silver lota, or a copper lota, or some silver or copper are wonderful, or a brass lota that you have your water during your pratna. So we must have water. Devotees, we have 2 minutes. We would like to continue next week. The next mantra we want to go to is the Shri Suktam. As you can see, this is the Shri Yantra. One can have discussion on this, and the geometric construction of this mantra, and how it can create what we call changes, supreme changes in energy within your life. But let us just do what we call simple mantras before we close. We will do, next week we'll continue with that mantra. But just to complete today's satsang, let us clasp our hands. Now you've got your deepam lit. You've got your glass of water next to you. So let us chant these mantras together. Mantra number 1. Om Namastestu Mahamaya Shri Pite Surapujate Shanka Chakra Gadahaste Mahalakshmi Namastute. 2 more times and then we will close with Shantipat. Om Namastestu Mahamaye Shri Pite Surapujate Shanka Chakra Gadahaste Mahalakshmi Namastute. 1 more time, slowly. Om Namastestu Mahamaye Shri Pite Surapujite Shanka Chakra Gadahaste Mahalakshmi Namastute. Mahalakshmi Namastute. We all bow down to that great power of illusion, the one who rides on Sri Pita and who is worshipped by the Devas, the one who holds the power of the Shank to create the vibrations that make this world spin around, the one who has a Sudarshan chakra in her hands that blesses us with happiness, and the one who has a gada or a mace as a symbol of her regal authority over this world and a control of our life. To that mother we bow down, Mata Lakshmi, to bless each and one of you with health, wealth, and happiness. So devotees, I will stop sharing right now, and I would like to just see each and every one of you And if we were to what we call summarize today's satsang, it was this power that we get by praying, that you can change your life, you can change your village, you can change your district, you can change your tongue, the tongue in which we live in and the country in which we live in. And this is where our mantras were based, but we are not doing enough of praying. And this is the importance in life. If we, as we move forward as a community of Vedic descendants, of Hindu descendants, of Sanatan descendants, if we focus more on simple mantras, but together reciting them over and over with the focus of what we want from the mantras, whether we want unity in our society, whether we want a prosperous society of health, wealth, and happiness, then that power is within your hands. Devotees, I would sincerely like to thank each and every one of you for joining today's community.